staring at you. I always wish that I could stay high with you. I always wish that I could stay high with you. I was never looking for love. I was never looking for love. I was never looking for love.
Welcome to Salesforce's IT and Sales, driving growth through a customer-first digital transformation. Please welcome Product Marketing Manager at Salesforce, Ash Gorringe.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ash Gorringe, and I'm excited to be your host today. Before we dive into this exciting conversation about the partnership between IT and sales and how together they can drive business growth, I'd just like to mention a few housekeeping items for our webinar. So you can share today's message on your social media using the hashtag IT and Sales Unite. You also may have noticed that there's a dashboard at the bottom of this page. You can feel free to check out speaker profiles and additional resources in that dashboard below. And last and not least, we invite you to take the attendee survey at any point during the event. Just click on the survey icon at the bottom of the page. We have a fantastic 40 minutes ahead of us where we're going to talk about how IT leaders are working with sales teams to deliver the tools and technology that optimize customer experience and drive business growth. I'm joined today by Amy Doherty and Dolly Wagner-Wilkins. We'll get to formal introductions in a moment. This is going to be a free-flowing conversation. We're going to talk about some of the tools and technology that IT teams are using to equip sales organizations, then sort of understand a little bit more about how IT and sales are aligning, and finally talk a bit around the topic of how sales automation technology can help the customer experience. And now to introduce our panelists. So we're joined by Dolly Wagner-Wilkins, the CTO of Worldwide Express.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Amy Doherty, EVP and COO of First Command Financial Services. Thank you for joining us today, Amy.
So glad to be here.
And as I said, my name is Ash Gorringe. I'm a product marketing manager focused on Sales Cloud at Salesforce, and also very excited to be here with you today. So just to set a little bit of context before we jump into our panel conversation. So over the course of the last 12 months, obviously there's been a sort of significant acceleration in the use of digital technology. And in fact, McKinsey, the global consulting firm, does a longitudinal study where they talk to a number of different global execs. And they found, talking to North American execs, that the percentage of customer interactions that use digital tools and technology significantly increased over the first 6 months of last year. In fact, they saw a leap from about 41% of customer interactions using digital tools to 65% by the middle of last year. And by their estimation, that equates to a kind of leapfrog of about 7 years relative to previous trends for the use of digital tools. And of course, it's IT that's in the hot seat for driving a lot of this change, for making this evolution happen. And so with that, I'd like to turn to our panelists to talk a little bit more about their experience. So I know that both of you and your respective companies have recently made a decision to enhance your sales technology. What led to those decisions? Amy, maybe we'll kick off with you first.
Sure, thank you. So at First Command, we endeavor to assist as many military families as possible in their pursuit of financial security. And we have a desire to scale our business so that we can help more and more military families. And our legacy platform did not allow us to have a 360-degree view of the client. It was limited to just sales. And in that model, it in the new model, we need sales and service and marketing and knowledge management to all work together so that we can provide a better experience for those military families.
Dolly, what's that kind of initial decision to upgrade your sales automation? What's that kind of look like for your company?
Well, for Worldwide Express, our sales team is one of our biggest differentiators. We have a large outside sales team. We specialize in the SMB market. So having sales team members that are in with customers in that market is somewhat rare. A lot of those businesses don't get to see their sales reps for their different vendors. So it's a huge differentiator for us. As Worldwide started growing, and certainly within the last year, we learned that as we added more structure to the sales process, we grew. With that became, more need for reporting and information. We saw this high-powered sales team spending more and more time on manually managing their sales process, on putting data into the system. They were struggling when they'd go visit a client, whether it's a virtual visit or an in-person visit, to have the right information for their customer. So we went all in on automation so that we could make the sales process much more efficient, automate all of that administrative work, have every tool that they need at their fingertips, and then also have this 360-degree view. So every time they interact with a customer, they have all the information that they need, and really unlock the power of that sales team to spend the majority of their time doing what they do best, which is selling and building relationships with our customers.
Amy, I know you talk about administrivia. What are some examples of some painful overheads that folks at First Command have had to deal with previously?
Yeah, sure. So filling out forms, how you love to do that when you go to visit a new doctor, where you write the information down on one page and then you write it down on another page just so you can have the same information on two forms. So we have, during the financial planning process, we have to collect a lot of data in order to provide really good financial planning advice. There are lots of compliance requirements that require multiple signatures, acknowledgement of disclosures, et cetera. And so, as Dolly said, we want to be automating as much of the administrative work or the administrivia as possible so that our advisors can spend the time coaching these families, helping them in their pursuit of financial security, and spending time building those relationships, which are so critical to our success.
And in terms of what I sort of said up front, pointing to a real sort of significant increase in interactions using digital tools, has that been the experience for both of you the past kind of 12 months? Dolly, what have you seen at Worldwide Express?
Yeah, that's certainly been our experience. We had this outside sales team, and prior to this, they would do a lot of the customer visits and spend a lot of time traveling out to see customers. And what we've learned is that outside sales and being close to the market, understanding our customers' business is still very important. But where they might have needed to close a sale 5 meetings in person with a customer, they can do 3 of those over the phone or virtually through the different virtual tools that are enabled for them now, and meet the customer once or twice. And it still has that same benefit from a customer experience perspective, but it's a lot more efficient for the sales team. So we've certainly seen that. And we do have a pretty dynamic team, so they embraced the technology, learned how to use it well. And I think going forward, we'll continue with that mix of virtual visits and in-person visits, and get the benefits of the efficiency as well as the benefit of that in-person touch.
So seeing a kind of a permanent change, really, in your whole kind of go-to-market motion.
Absolutely.
Would you say coming out of this past 12 months, Amy, there are things that you can see as permanent shifts and how your advisors sort of interact with military families, veterans?
Absolutely. So I think the pandemic created some opportunities for technologists because all of a sudden we had a real appetite for change and an accepting of a lot of changes that I think many of us have wanted to see come to life for some time. So our business model is face-to-face. We call it knee-to-knee coaching and consulting for our military families. And we couldn't do that safely during the pandemic. And while we may have wanted to introduce some tools like electronic signature or video consultation, we couldn't quite see how it would blend in with our traditional business model. And so the COVID pandemic really accelerated that change and the acceptance of that change. And I think going forward, we've seen that some clients actually prefer to have some of their appointments virtually. So, they could get their kids to bed and they could get on a call with their spouse in the living room and talk with their advisor about, a recent change in their situation or a financial challenge that they're having. And so we think that these technologies will augment the relationships and the relationship building that we do with our military families. And certainly adoption of things like automated workflows and the use of digital signature have helped us close business more effectively and efficiently. And if you miss a signature on a paper form, in the past, the client has had to come back into the office to sign that piece of paper. And now it's as simple as sending a link through email so that they can close that piece of business. So it's really streamlined a lot of what we do. And our clients are telling us that this is more effective and efficient for them as well. So it's a better experience for them too.
Wow, so that is definitely an example of the leapfrog that we were sort of referencing before. So I think it's all well and good to kind of talk about, these new technologies and sort of the benefits, et cetera. But I think kind of operationally getting folks aligned within the organization before you take this step, that can often be, that can kind of be easier said than done, I think is one way of putting it. Kind of what are some of the challenges in terms of bringing together IT and sales so that you are all focused on the kind of customer experience and sort of optimizing that as much as possible? Dolly, maybe kind of talk about your experience first at Worldwide Global Express.
We enjoy a very low to no friction relationship with our business teams, which is really one of the keys, I think, to driving alignment. So we have a few, and we, as a technology team, we really value those relationships and we try to protect them. And a couple of things that we do that we try to be very consistent about with our business teams is one, be really thoughtful in what we propose and why we propose it and the approach that we take. And we find that when we approach our business partners and it's well thought out, they feel more valued and want to hear what we have to say. Another is transparency. Everything that we do, we're transparent about. There is no such thing as internal tech. It's internal Worldwide Express, and any business team can come to any of our meetings. They can see any of our documents. There's no, we're completely transparent. When we mess something up, we admit it. When we are doing well, we tell them whatever it is. We're very, very transparent. Third is that everything we do, we try to make sure it has a direct business value. So we don't try to go to our business teams and sell tech for tech's sake. It's all directly related to our goals or achieving our strategy. And last, but certainly not least, is that everything we do in partnership with our business teams. So they're engaged from the time we first start thinking about an idea to engaging with potential partners, RFP processes, or development, the prioritization. We show them what we're doing along the way. We get their feedback and input. So really, everything that we do, we view as a joint effort, and it's ours, not theirs, not tech's or the business teams, but it's Worldwide's, and it's all done together every step of the way. So those are kind of the ingredients that we kind of put into the relationship to drive alignment and stay aligned. And ultimately, it drives success because everything that we do, they feel ownership of, they've had tons of input into. It incentivizes them to adopt the new technology because they have ownership in it. And they're incented to drive business value because that's good for all of us. So those are kind of the things that we focus on as we work with our partners. And so far, it's worked for us, and we have a really great relationship.
I love that point about it establishes ownership from the get-go. I think that's just such a thoughtful way of approaching it, and I just think it makes everyone's life easier and the project's more successful. So I think that's a really good point to make, rather than just some kind of solution being dropped in, and everyone has to sort of change their process to accommodate. And in terms of how you were getting that alignment for First Command, Amy, how's that looked for you?
Yeah, so Dolly had a great story, and I think that we have a lot of similarities in that there's just terrific alignment. We're mission oriented, and so everyone has a lot of passion about the mission. We're here because we want to serve, and so landing on the why is it's just unambiguous. We might have different points of view on how to get to the what or the how we're going to do things, but the why we're doing things is really clear to all of us. When we were undertaking replatforming our sales automation tool, we stopped first, and traditionally perhaps we would have had our technology organization take the lead. And instead this time we stopped, took a step back, wrote a business forward CRM strategy, and sketched out OKRs, objectives, and key results that we expected to receive from a replatforming. And then we used that to drive the decision-making process. We, instead of publishing an RFP and going through what I would consider maybe a heavy documentation process, we wanted to align to our Agile release trains. We use the Scaled Agile framework here at First Command. And so we needed to do a thorough but really quick discovery and evaluation of the potential tools on the market. And so we undertook the discovery programs with two potential partners. It was the Microsoft's Catalyst program and the Salesforce Insight program. And we put together a group of about 52 stakeholders across First Command in a variety of roles and at a variety of levels. And over the course of about 6 weeks, we simultaneously participated in these two discovery programs, let the two potential technology partners learn about us and what our objectives were. They both came back with a compelling story about why their platform was going to be the next best platform for First Command. And it was, I think, a real testament to how aligned we were on our vision and the objectives and our hypotheses about what a platform could do for us, that in the end, all of the participants were aligned around a singular choice. So it was a very easy decision. We were all quite aligned, very bought in. It was a transparent process, and we did have ownership from the start. So all those great qualities that Dolly talked about in her program were mirrored here at First Command as well.
And you even did usability lab testing at some point at First Command, is that right?
So we do usability lab testing for everything. And so we have a voice of the client, a voice of the advisor, and a voice of the employee program, where we do research and then user testing on usability. And part of the evaluation, certainly for the new platform, was usability. We wanted to hear from all of the users, not just our sales team, our advisors. We wanted to hear from our service folks, if this was going to allow them to service our clients more effectively. From our marketing folks, were we going to be able to reach more military families? And from our operations folks, what would it take to support this platform and continue to build it out in service to our clients?
And I know both of you have kind of some interactions with Agile frameworks, which I think we've discussed have been useful in terms of driving interaction, sort of alignment from kind of the execs downwards. Would you kind of point to that as something that's been useful? Dolly, what would you say to that?
Yes, absolutely. We also, as Amy does, we use the Scaled Agile framework at Worldwide as well. And, it was developed originally, and Agile was developed. It was developed, kind of a brainstorm among technicians on a mountain retreat one day. And it worked really well for startups and small companies, but it didn't have much of a mechanism for larger corporations when you're answering to a board and when you need to drive alignment with your business teams. And so the Scaled Agile framework adds some layers to what you would consider a typical Agile approach that allows you to do that and really calls for business engagement all along the process. And that's incredibly helpful. And it still gives you all the benefits of Agile in that you can, something unexpected comes up, it's easy to change and be flexible. So it offers the flexibility that you get with Agile, but it puts a little more structure to it so that engagement is part of the methodology. So your business teams are included all the way through the process. Yet your development teams still get the benefit of driving through an Agile process and some of the speed and flexibility that comes with that. And some of the tenets, like doing the harder parts first, also lends itself to greater success as a program overall. So it's a really nice mix of that original Agile tenets and framework with some structure on top of it, which considers a little larger corporation and that driving that alignment with your business partners. So I think it's been hugely helpful. And it sounds like it has been for Amy too. She's talked about this, and I think she's seen a lot of success as well.
Yeah, I know, Amy, that you're also passionate about it, yeah?
Yeah, Agile has been in place for a couple decades in IT. And there was so much goodness there that I love that the Scaled Agile framework has allowed us to expand outside of IT and bring our business partners along in a more comprehensive and collaborative way. We are, we're after the benefits that Agile will bring to our entire organization. So we want shorter time to market. And so far, a year in, it's about half of what it was pre-Agile. We want higher quality, we want better employee engagement, and we want better productivity across the organization as well. We ultimately, like many companies, we want to be sense and respond. We want to be able to listen to our clients, hear what they want in the future for products and services, and we want to be able to pivot. We want to watch our market, understand what changes are coming in the market, even from a regulatory perspective, and respond by pivoting. And Agile gives us an opportunity to take a look at that quarterly, and so we can make the adjustments that are needed in order to be a more sense and respond organization. So it's transformation, so it's change, and it's a long, hard road to make to unwind decades of traditional organization and traditional ways of doing things and eliminating maybe the agency conflict that you would have between one business unit and another trying to achieve different objectives. But we now have one portfolio that we're all working towards in service to our clients.
Now, I could talk about that for Agile for hours. It's so fascinating for me to learn about it, but I will have to move on because I suspect that's not what everyone else wants to hear. Kind of getting to the nuts and bolts of the sales automation tools, kind of what are the key functions, in terms of people's day-to-day, what are some of the benefits that, your frontline teams are getting from having good sales automation in place?
All right. Well, gosh, there's lots of benefits. So I think, when we start a project, we try to look at our overall business goals and strategy and, bring technology along that supports that. And so for us, some of the key things in one is just automating a lot of previously manual tasks and really freeing up our people's time to do higher value, higher quality work. In the case of sales, that's being out more with customers, whether, again, that's virtual or in person, building relationships. It's also for our service teams. They previously did a lot of manual work, and it's putting in a lot of automation. And that frees them up to do much higher value work and moves us from more of a reactive situation with our customers where we're reacting to problems to proactive, where we can proactively see a problem coming and solving it before they know it. We can reach out to them proactively and nurture relationships much more often than we would have time for before. It's also really contributing to employee retention and satisfaction because they are not doing as much rote manual work. They get to do higher value work that's more satisfying. So that's been a huge benefit. And then another benefit is just having information at your fingertips. So when you automate your sales automation and you include your service and marketing and the entire organization, suddenly you have this view of information about your customers and about your business that you didn't have before. And so when you are working with a customer, you know everything that's gone on in that customer's world. So, a customer has a bad shipping experience, we can reach out to that customer, we can proactively fix it or at least offer to help them through whatever the remediation might be. So having that information, it also allows us to look at our business and gain business insights. So there's numerous examples of that. For instance, we have sometimes customers quote on us, but they don't book. Well, we now have access to that information of who quoted and didn't book, and we can look at that and say, well, why didn't they? And make the necessary changes to the business so that we get that booking the next time. So there's lots and lots of benefits. Ultimately, what you want at the end of the day is a great customer experience. So you want that in sales. You want them to be able to go to our customers, have the information they need, and have every interaction with our customers be positive. When a customer does have an issue, you want to be able to solve it for them quickly. If they have a question, you want them to either be able to self-serve quickly and efficiently and have the digital tools accessible to the customer, or you want to be able to service them. And you want to anticipate issues and make their day-to-day business as smooth as possible. So we want to be easy to do business with, and we want to delight our customers. And so these are the types of tools that allow us to put time there versus time reacting.
And I mean, you're operating in an incredibly competitive space as well. So trying to improve that customer experience and deliver the best experience is kind of even more crucial. Plus, I think your logistics in particular has experienced a real shift just in terms of that business and the volume it's seeing and how things are being shipped and to where in the past 12 months. That is also a whole other level on top of what other businesses have experienced. The other point I really like about what you just said is about the employee retention. I think that sometimes gets sort of forgotten, but people want to use like good tools that make their lives easier so they can, as you said, sort of do the higher value work. So a lot of kind of goodness there. Amy, I know that you've kind of, in terms of your kind of agent's experience, one use case you kind of talk about is the ability to kind of cross-sell and upsell, looking at different types of clients, and so your advisors can kind of understand, what they can do better with their own clients based on other agents' experience. Tell me about that use case as well as any other that you think sales automation has really kind of helped First Command.
Yeah, that's a great question. So some of these are aspirational because we're still in the deployment phase of our new platform. But we believe that we'll be able to do a few things with automation and with artificial intelligence through Salesforce. We expect to be able to serve up the advisor's best day. So based on their book of business, which clients might need to be coming in for an annual financial planning review, their referral list, et cetera. We want to increase the advisor satisfaction and the advisor retention by creating their best day so that they can come in and be as productive as possible. We also think that we will be able to use the data to drive insights, to create new products and services based on the behavior of the clients against these products. We believe that we'll be able to make recommendations to the advisor for upsell or cross-sell of different products and services based on client personas. So if one client had a need that was satisfied by a product and that client looks and behaves a lot like the client sitting across the table from us in any given appointment. We want to be able to serve up that information to the advisors so that they can make that suggestion, determine suitability with the client, and then close that sale if it's appropriate.
Great. You mentioned data there. I think obviously top of everyone's mind in every business and every function. Kind of, what do you see as the role of data, Amy? Like what would be some examples of like best practice that you're trying to implement when it comes to data? Yeah,
that's a great question too. I hear everyone saying data is the new oil, but it's really what keeps your business going. A couple best practices that I would share is first, be really clear on your purpose for collecting it. So is it so that you can improve decision making about sales, or to understand client behavior patterns so that you can increase engagement, or are you looking to find insights for new products and services? I think you have to be really clear on why you want to use the data, because it's really easy to collect, but then it gets hard from there. And so you want to be collecting it for a specific purpose or purposes, and understand why it is you want to collect that data. I would say, secondly, ruthlessly protect the foundational elements of your data program, like data security and data privacy and data quality. Data is the lifeblood of your organization, and it's a cornerstone of a trusted relationship with the client. So if, in our case, if the client sees that the data isn't correct, they can't trust us with their data, I don't think that they're going to trust us with their money either. So just protecting those kind of foundational tenets of data is really critical. I think thirdly, I'd say democratizing the data is important. Our goal with data is to evolve from creating reports to finding insights, and to find those insights. It sounds easy, but it's really quite difficult. You need a lot of different types of thinking, a lot of different types of people involved, so that you can derive those insights from the data. Lastly, I would say think carefully about your data collection protocols. So ideally, you want to create interactions and experiences for your clients so that you can derive data from those experiences instead of doing the data entry that we talked about before. Like, you don't want to go to your dentist and fill out the paper over and over. You don't want to do that with your financial advisor either. So focus instead on how you can collect data through experiences so that you can understand your client's behavior and get a more fulsome profile of them. And you can then use that data to create personalized recommendations for each client.
Great. I want to make sure I hear a little from Dolly about this, because I know at Worldwide Global Express, you're bringing together data from multiple different sort of providers. You're kind of acting as that clearinghouse, that broker. There's a kind of an added layer of complexity that comes from that. What are some of the ways that you sort of manage that so everyone stays happy and everything's protected but useful,
Well, I think Amy hit on a lot of the high points of good data management. One I might add that we really focus on is not really avoiding duplication of data. So there's a tendency to kind of put data here, there, and everywhere, and really trying not to duplicate and have to sync data all over the organization to make sure that it holds its integrity, as she mentioned. One thing that we do, and I maybe want to expand on, Amy said, democratization of data. And really what we focus on, we do collect data from a lot of different sources. And we normalize it, we put in a data warehouse to some extent. And with new data tools, you don't have to do as much work as you used to do in order to make use of that data. But what we try to do is get the data into the hands of our citizen users, so that we have groups all over the company who are looking at the data. And Amy touched on this, really making the data accessible to your user base. And so they don't have to go to technology to get a report. They don't have to go to technology to analyze data. So we have a fairly centralized data warehouse, but we have multiple tools that we use to access that data warehouse depending on the needs of the user, what they want to use it for, and the tools that they're familiar with. So really getting the full power of the data by putting it in the user's hands and not making it something mysterious that technology has to do in order to unlock insights. And we're constantly surprised and delighted at what our citizen users come up with, the ways that they're able to use the data, the insights that they're able to glean. I think Amy said, many heads are better than one, and that's certainly the case. So we have people all over the organization who are driving insights from that and therefore driving the business from it. And so I would encourage anyone to try to get that data into people's hands in a format that they can use it and in a format that they can understand it. So some of our users get at the data through Salesforce and use the Salesforce Einstein product. Others get at it through a different Salesforce tool called Tableau, and they have a deeper business intelligence bent. But put the right tool in the hands of each user, and then let them go to town with the data.
Yeah, I love that notion that you don't want it all to be locked up by some sort of business intelligence team or special projects team, and it's sort of more available to everyone, and people can start to work with it, but with tools that kind of make sense to them in terms of their sort of day-to-day. Because not everyone needs a super high-powered BI tool to get sort of glean insights that are useful. As we kind of approach the sort of end of our conversation, are there any other kind of points that you would like to make in terms of sort of what your experience has been, or perhaps kind of what you're looking forward to over sort of 2021 in terms of your respective roles? Amy?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think so many of us are looking to 2021 with hope. Hopefully we can put the pandemic behind us and figure out what our new business as usual is all about. So I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I'm looking forward to our first release of Salesforce. We're going to be concentrating that on our sales team. I'm really eager to get the tool in the hands of our advisors and see how our business can take off. We developed, as I said, some objectives and key metrics for the CRM program. So we're looking for increases in our advisor productivity, in our advisor retention, and our advisor recruitment. We're also looking forward to seeing some changes in the conversion of referrals and the conversion of prospects to become clients of First Command. We're looking for increases in plan implementation. So once we create a plan for a client, we want it to be so personalized and on target and relevant to them that they initiate those plans and they put them into action and they get on the road to financial security. We're looking for changes in our client experience scores, in our client satisfaction scores, certainly sales revenue. We're looking for changes there. In our ability to service clients, we'd love to see some reduction in some of the more simple call center support questions we get, because our clients are able to self-service on those, and the calls that we do get are richer experiences where we can learn more about our clients and provide really good service. We're looking for more effective compliance processes, perhaps through the platform. So lots on the horizon for us that we're really excited about.
Those are some super exciting metrics to try and work on and develop further. And it sounds like you have done that in a sort of hand in glove type relationship with your sales organization. Dolly, what are you looking forward to as 2021? Well, we're here, as we get further into it.
Yeah, we've got a big year ahead. We're really excited. So we did an early implementation of Salesforce, but we have been in the process of building a brand new platform that will ultimately power our business. And Salesforce was our largest buy component in kind of a build-buy strategy. And that platform will roll out this year, and it has a very deep integration with Salesforce and incorporates everything from Pardot. So we'll have lead scoring and much better be able to feed our sales team with great leads to start with. The whole process through the whole sales process automation, and that's deeply integrated with our operational systems. So that view of not just the customer, but the entire business all in one platform is really exciting. So we're looking forward to rolling that out in 2021. And, we have this really dynamic team at Worldwide Express, and I'm excited to get it in their hands and just see what they do with it. How all the different ways they find to sell it, all the different ways that they find to use it, and then to taking it up to the next level and adding better features, more automation, deeper insights, and all the things that will power our business going forward. So it's an exciting year. I can't wait to get out there and get this new platform in their hands and, drive deeper integration and deeper benefits with Salesforce as well.
And something I just kind of heard you say, are you kind of hoping that, I know you've got this sort of legacy systems, are you sort of hoping there'll be a little bit less work around those, or sort of it will become more accessible for your team to kind of access what's in those sort of, the kind of older systems?
Actually, we're sunsetting our older systems, and this new platform will replace them.
Okay, so that's a significant shift.
Yeah, it's a significant rollout. So we, as we started on this adventure, we chose to buy everything that was readily available in the market and build the things that were really unique to our business. And so Salesforce was our perhaps largest buy component, but we didn't want to wait until the new platform was built to start gaining some of the benefits from Salesforce. So we did an early release of the Service Cloud and have that in place now. And then when we release the new platform, we'll go live with Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Pardot, Community Portal, Partner Portal, the full, fairly fulsome suite of Salesforce products that will roll out with the new platform. So it's a substantial effort. But we're super excited. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to talk to both of you in a year's time to kind of hear what worked, what you would do differently, but also, ideally benefits both for your frontline teams and for the customers that they're supporting. So thank you to Amy and Dolly for joining this interesting and important conversation about how the right collaboration between IT and sales can improve customer experience and drive business growth. I also want to thank our audience today for tuning in. The recording of today's live event will be available on YouTube, so remember to share on social media using the hashtag IT and Sales Unite. And please take the survey, which will pop up at the bottom of your screen in just a moment. Again, thank you for joining. Goodbye.